Hello there, everybody, and welcome back for the next panel in this afternoon's or today's forum. Just waiting to see how many of our speakers we have online. Let's just. Oh, great! We have everybody. That's fantastic. Great to see you, everyone. Hello again, Alf. Hi. Uh, Else was on before. So we're going to have a discussion about sustainable products, which I think are really at the heart of today's event. Subtitle From Consumer Needs to Business Opportunities. So we know that there is a desire from consumers for sustainable products. And we know that there are business opportunities in developing and offering products that are sustainable and are genuinely sustainable. Not always obvious that the two things go together, the two things can marry up. So I'm delighted to welcome this afternoon's speakers. On my bottom, the bottom left of my screen, I don't know if it's the same for everyone, we have European Civil Servant, Deputy Director General in the European Commission, Director General for Justice and Consumers, as well as Els Bruggeman from Euro Consumers, who you've already met if you've been following. We have Monique Goyens from BEOC, the European Umbrella Consumers Association. I'd like to start, if I may, with you, Niels. Your Commissioner Didier Reynders, earlier on gave a sort of a brief overview of the new consumer agenda, which was unveiled very recently. Could you just give us a few sort of elements in that, and in particular, if you'd like to explain sort of how on the one hand, it empowers consumers and enhances their rights, and how it addresses the desire for more sustainable and genuinely sustainable comments. And then I'll invite our other speakers to comment on it.
Sure. No, thanks a lot, Dirk. First, let me congratulate Euro Consumers for organizing this international event. It's very exciting, and therefore, good morning to colleagues in other parts of the globe. Good afternoon to colleagues here in Europe and in Brussels. Indeed, Dirk, as the Commissioner mentioned earlier today, we just have come up with a proposal for a new consumer agenda, so a new policy framework for consumer action in the next 5 years. This policy framework, of course, addresses the needs of consumers now in the context of the current COVID-19 pandemic, but it also sets out certain horizontal priorities for the next couple of years. First, of course, the consumers in the green transition, in the digital transition, enforcement, vulnerabilities, and international cooperation. And then we try to implement this policy vision into 22 concrete actions on which we want to work closer with partners from the public, but also from the private sector. Looking more at the topic of our panel this afternoon on the sustainability, indeed, the starting point of the consumer agenda is that our personal consumption in Europe, but also worldwide, will have to change if we want to achieve our environmental and climate change targets. At the moment, if you take the example of our climate footprint, the CO2 footprint, it comes mainly from living, from mobility and tourism, from food, and then other consumption, leisure, goods, etc. In response, the consumer agenda comes with a number of measures under, I would say, 4 leitmotifs. First, indeed, we want to empower the consumers. Lots of consumers are willing to do more on sustainability, but at the moment they are running into problems, wrong choice, etc. Second, we don't want to impose a lifestyle. It's not that we want to tell everybody what they have to eat, how they have to travel, but we want to offer better choices. Third, we don't clearly want to put all the burdens on consumers. That would be unfair and it would be impossible. Consumers are willing and they should be equipped, but they should not carry or. And fourth, there's also a very important social dimension. We have to pay attention that climate change, environmental issues don't separate the richer from the poorer. So let's say that's the policy framework. To get there, we have to, let's say, roll out initiatives in different sectors. It's not, let's say, a one-size-fits-all solution. Unfortunately, there's not the silver bullet with which you could equip the consumers throughout. Take the example of let's say, housing and living conditions. One key problem is that we have to renovate the existing stock of houses, flats, etc. So we foresee a big renovation wave, financing standards, but also information. Food, totally different story. But we want to via the farm to fork strategy, improve food labeling to enable consumers to make more sustainable choices. On that, we are buying online, offline. It's very important that we have clear binding product rules, but that is something which we can do mainly through, let's say, specific legislation. We will come end of next year in Europe with the so-called Sustainable Products Initiative, and that has the ambition to extend the current eco-design directive, the main directive to impose product standards, to go beyond energy-using products, and then foresee very clear binding rules on questions of reparability, of durability, etc. So those would be binding rules that all producers and traders would have to comply with that want to operate in Europe. We also will look into more product-specific legislation, for example, under a circular electronics initiative. We want to foresee that electronic devices have to be designed under more durability criteria, and also want to provide the consumer with a right to repair for those products, including on software. So there are certain, let's say, targeted initiatives. And in addition, we want to come with a more horizontal piece of legislation, which shall empower and equip the consumer with better information. On one side, coming with, let's say, general criteria on what obligation, any kind of information that producers or traders put on environmental issues of products have to comply with. And on the other side, we also want to fight more effectively all aspects of greenwashing, the confrontation of consumers with misleading environmental information. In addition, we will also look into the sales of goods directive, which gives a basic guarantee, because obviously at the moment you have in Europe 2 years of guarantee for your product. And in this time, if there's a problem with the product, you can either replace it or you repair it. If you prolong this period, of course, the position of consumers is already much longer. At the same time, in the perspective of sustainability, we also will have to reflect whether the replacement of a product in this guarantee period is always the better choice, or whether in certain cases the repair would not be the better choice. Last point, because this panel is also very much about the business opportunities. We also really believe that in this area of environmental choice for consumers, a lot of companies have an interest to proceed, and there are also very interesting business opportunities. So therefore, the consumer agenda also foresees a closer cooperation with industry in different areas, so that companies are reducing their own environmental footprint. Companies are increasing the share of environmental products in their overall portfolio, but also that companies improve the information that consumers can get in sustainable products, even beyond the legal requirements. So if, for example, a supermarket is reserving certain shelves or certain area of the office space for environmental products that are complying with agreed methodology, then it would be much easier for the consumer to say, I don't have to check every individual product. I know that in this area, the products I can buy are environmentally friendly, even if they may be a bit more expensive. So that's, let's say, as a first reply to your question, the response from the consumer agenda.
Great, thanks very much, Niels.
Right.
Monique, let me come to you. So that's very clear, the ambition. Will it work in practice? Is it Will it deliver stronger consumer rights? What's your view?
I think that my own life expectancy has been reduced by a few months this afternoon because I had troubles connecting, and I would like to really thank the technical team. The control room was like Cap Canaveral before a rocket goes to the moon, and so thank you very much for your patience with me. So this being said, I think Simon, to answer your question, the consumer agenda is an excellent document, and it's a really an excellent start. Um, to have really a new approach towards consumers and sustainability. And what I really can I give you a reading tip to all of those who listen? Don't just read the actions that are indicated in the boxes. You also read the full document because it's very rich, it's very dense, it's full of ideas, and the actions that are listed as official actions are not exhaustive. So I really believe this needs to be read more than once and with a lot of detail. And also, and as it is really mentioned in the agenda itself, and Niels already referred to that, it has to be put as a part of a puzzle of many, many initiatives that are being taken for the moment by the Commission in this context: farm to form strategy, chemical strategy, the upcoming pharmaceutical strategy, and also the renovation wave strategy. So, for example, so for the moment, there is a whole, let's say, multi-dimensional approach towards getting consumers to a better place. Now, and when it comes to mobility in particular, we really believe that the agenda sets a lot of strong signals that the sustainable option must be the easy option for the consumer. And that is something that is for us, I mean, this is totally in line with our request and also the way we see how people need that support. What is very important is that if you really want to address climate change and mitigate the climate crisis, you can develop as many policies as you want. It's the people who will make it happen. It's the people who will have to change the way they eat, the way they move, the way they travel, the way they don't buy products, the way they heat or cool their houses. So that means that you need to put the people at the center of the policy. And there is a lot in the strategy in other areas that the Commission has also developed, where this central place is granted. And consumer empowerment, and there I can only confirm what Niels mentioned, is more than just information. And I would also say it is very important that it is more than information, because you cannot leave the burden of making sustainable choices on the individual consumer. You must create an ecosystem, if I can use that word, where you have informational tools, regulatory tools, policy tools, and market tools, make it possible to make so that the sustainable option is the attractive one. And there have been, I won't repeat all the initiatives that Niels has listed, and certainly sustainable product policy is one of the very important tools, not only to, let's say, by eco-design, to really move products to more, not only energy efficiency, but also resource efficiency more general, and also to get the unsustainable products from the market. And there is one element, for example, that is not mentioned in the agenda, and it is not that it is missing, it's maybe not the place to be there. But for example, if you really want people to go for the sustainable car choice, phase out as soon as possible combustion engines. This is it has to be phased out. That's the unsustainable product that should not be on the market. Now, it cannot be happen for next year, but it should certainly be happening for 2035, for example. So this is very important. It is also very important, and the agenda also links to that, to have the international dimension, because you can, of course, say that you are sustainable within the EU. If you pollute outside of the borders, it's not really helping the planet. So I think that the relationship with trade policy that needs to be working hand in hand with consumer policy or any other single market policy is a very important signal. So what I would like to say as an initial conclusion, the strategy, the agenda is an excellent start. And now, of course, we need to talk to walk. No, walk to talk. Sorry, I get it confused. Must be my connection problems. Thank you very much, Simon.
over your technical problems. Else, if I can bring you in, so your organisation, you've done a lot of initiatives that we've seen in the videos, prompt, approved by tomorrow, looking at products and really exposing where they're not sustainable. Do you see that the producers are shifting? Are they reacting to the attention or the concerns that consumer groups are ready? And do you see an expansion of sustainable products on the market and genuinely sustainable products? Because of course the danger of greenwashing. So it's a lot of questions, Else. I apologise, but answer the ones that you like.
Well, maybe just to join the other panelists and congratulations to the Commission for this consumer agenda. You mentioned that the Proof by Tomorrow is our strategy when it comes to sustainability, and it starts from a very consumer-centered, consumer-driven, and consumer-empowering approach on sustainability. In a Proof by Tomorrow, we just don't want to settle for just merely a consumer-fit green transition, which is hugely important, but we also want our consumers to become a driving force towards a more sustainable future. And to start, I have to say we are very happy to hear that narrative is present throughout the consumer agenda. It really acknowledges this empowerment that it is needed to make informed choices and to play an active role. And they're actually putting forward a few concrete tools for that. You've mentioned the Prompt project. It might be an approved by it might be a concrete illustration of the new consumer agenda can really do for us in our general daily work. We've been working for a long time on this problem of premature, or you can call it planned obsolescence. We know this really bothers consumers, and just to give you an idea of how much it annoys them, when we first started on this, our Belgian member, Testachat, launched a platform, launched a website where consumers could register these faulty products. We called it Trop vite usé en français, or Trash Too Fast in English. It was to raise awareness, but also to get a better view of how big the problem was. And it turned out to be a huge problem because the response we got was huge. And meanwhile, also thanks to European funding, we have been able to enlarge it to other countries, other European countries, but the registrations are still counting. Now, when it comes to tackling this structural obsolescence, all these actually have a lot of power. And we need to exploit this consumer power because they are the ones deciding what to buy and what not. But of course, if you want them to play the role, of course, the very basic thing is know how long a product will last or even repaired. And the fact that the new consumer agenda is putting forward an intention to address this opens a whole door because finally consumers will be able to play their role. And maybe to address the question of when these are responsive on this, I have always been surprised that not companies, businesses have jumped on this opportunity, to distinguish themselves as a sustainable ones, make it a unique selling position. I mean, there's definitely a demand side out there of consumers, and that's exactly why we need to bring in this consumer power. There is a momentum there. While until a while ago, the focus on sustainability was rather limited to a restricted segment of, smaller businesses or pop-ups. Nowadays, we see that also larger are shifting towards more sustainability. Some very with baby steps, some a bit more ambitious. But at least also there's some movement going on. And I think the participation of global sponsors to this forum is proof of that. And it's very necessary because we need everyone on board, the big companies and also the smaller ones. So there's some seeds have been planted, but we need to speed up. We need to accelerate. We need to make a competitive market. And we need to bring in the consumer power to embrace sustainability. So I wouldn't bring in the fire, but we definitely need to bring in some consumer power to this market of sustainable products.
Great. Niels, do you want to come back on any of the points that Monique and Els have highlighted? We're very close to the end of this session, unfortunately, but if you just had a quick comment to make.
No, just to say that, let's say, of course, we appreciate the close cooperation with the consumer organizations, both at union and at national level. Let's say you're policy partners, but you're also watchdogs. And the example that Els mentioned on the Trovit ISE is a typical example. Yes, we want to absolutely fight the premature obsolescence. We want to make sure that when the consumer buys a product, he or she is not just going for the lowest price and then throw it fast, but knows from the beginning how long can she or he expect the product to use. The problem is very often at the moment the producer or the trader puts the product on the market first time, he or she will not know how long it will last or doesn't want to give the data. So there we need this kind of market monitoring that consumer organizations can do to then inform the consumer what kind of knowledge we have about the lifetime of a product. And therefore, just to say that really we very much appreciate a strong consumer culture and the strong voice of consumer organizations, and very much look forward to working together with you to implement the agenda.
Okay, great. I think that seems a logical place to bring to a close. It's a bit of a shame, but we're trying to stick to the timetable, and we have some interesting presentations later that we don't want to lose. So thank you all very much for your contributions. Great to have you here, and I hope you'll be able to around for some of the other sessions. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, just to announce, in a few minutes, we are going to have a special session with Professor Jeffrey Sachs from Columbia University in the US, who will be in conversation with Italian internet pioneer Mr. Stefano Quintarelli, and you will be able to hear from those two gentlemen after the videos in a few minutes. So hopefully you'll all stay with us to hear that very interesting session. But thanks and bye for now.